If you clicked on this, I'm guessing you really like drawing characters but struggle with backgrounds. You're like me, you either just hate it in general, or you spend so much time and effort on your character that you just get so lazy when it comes to the background. So today I'm just going to show you a few hacks that you can do and implement on all your character paintings to give the impression of a background with a few simple steps. So when we look at character art, it's always nice if it was part of an environment so that it is a little bit more interesting and exciting to look at. So I used to think, and I'm sure some of you also think this way, is that you need to really spend lots of time developing the background and adding all these every little details into it. Or you might think that your character needs to be in a background, fully detailed like this one, or even sometimes simpler like this one, this painting that I did of a background here. But then when you add your character to it, the background and the character might clash. And to make it work, you might end up blurring the background and removing all that detail anyways. So what should we do? So we have this character here now. And if you're a complete beginner, this is what I used to do when I first started. You can just add the shadow so that your character doesn't look like it's floating in the air. So what you can do is you create a layer just under the character, and then you select the background color, and then you go a little bit darker, and then you can just add a little bit of shadow under your character. So that's step one. So now if you want to take it to the next level, you can just copy paste your character and then bring it behind and then just turn it into complete black. And then now you have your character just in the background. Can you reduce its opacity a little bit so that it's not completely black? And then you can use or hold the control button and then just bring your character like this so that it is as if the light is hitting it, and then there's the background. This is very simple, and this is something that I used to do when I was starting. It really works, and it makes your character be grounded so it doesn't look like it's just floating in space. So the next method is the Gaussian blur technique. So this technique I use all the time because it is very simple but very effective. So the idea here is to add something in the background that implies that there is something there. But then we blur it, and that's why it doesn't need to be very accurate or detailed. So something to keep in mind when we're choosing the colors here is that we don't want it to clash with our character. If our character is dark, maybe we want the background to be a bit lighter, or if the character is very light, then the background should be a bit darker to give that contrast so that the character pops more. So I'm trying to imply that there are lights in the background, so much like nightlife or city, maybe some cyberpunk feel to it. So I'm just adding these colors here. And then we can go the darker areas and add some that there's no light to kind of give some areas that you need for your character some contrast. For example, around the hair, we want to add that contrast there. So once we have this, so it doesn't look very nice, but then if we go filter and then we just go blur, Gaussian blur, and then we add that blur, immediately we see that it gives that sense that there's something happening in the background, as if there is nightlife or city life or something like that. Very simple, but it really does work. Alright, so the next one is if you have a little bit more time and you want to invest more time in it, is that you can come to your painting and then at the bottom of it, add a little bit of an environment just around the feet. And that just gives your painting that feel that there is something happening and it's not just a character in the air. And it's kind of like an advanced version of version number 1. And then you can really spend time. So for example, here we're just doing some rocks and some grass and adding those to the bottom of the feet to add that feeling of the character walking around in an environment. You can choose what the environment you want to be. So instead of painting the whole background in that environment, you just spend a few minutes adding that environment at the bottom. And of course, you can always combine all of these things, all of these methods that we talked about into one simple background. So if you want, for example, you can just do this where you have the bottom of the character all done And then we had that model where we had the Gaussian blur background, so we can add that there. And there you go, you have one big background where you combined a few simple steps, and it really only took a few minutes to get all of this done. I hope this was really helpful for you. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.